think there's a lot that unites us in how we think of the roles of folk music does and can play in community building and helping people connect to deeply to their feelings and their sense of self.
I think I take inspiration from that specific role or purpose of the musician in traditional places as that tool for helping folks feel, inviting them in if it was hard for them to get in, and helping them move through that. Yeah. So music is a tool in ceremony. We probably don't always call it ceremony, but so it's like one of the threads inside of holding together cultural memory, right? Like in big life moments, whatever those might be. Music is a thread in holding that memory and teaching tradition to people.
That's even in the word klezmer, comes from klezmer, kind of a vessel of song. That is my job, to be kind of a vessel of this music of a community and of a people and of many different peoples, really. Because the repertoire comes from all over the place. Some of it is sort of old spiritual Jewish roots. Some of it is just really just Romanian folk music played in a more Jewish style. Some of it is Turkish music. Some of it comes from Greek. Some of it comes more from like Slavic, Russian, and Polish, and Ukrainian, Hungarian, continental European military marches. Then in the States, jazz and African American music and popular music of the States that have become really like part of the klezmer repertoire.
I've spent a career so far taking note and trying to learn and research a lot of different traditional musics, specifically ones that I share cultural connection to or lineage connection to. I'm either working with actual traditional music that's been held by a lot of lives and shaped by a lot of lives, or I am writing new work in the forms of traditional music that has been, and those forms have been shaped by life in a culture. So I'm kind of like looking and listening backwards really deeply so that I can present that forwards here to people. You've been my pretty little girl. The culture in traditional music, which I'm very happy about, like traditional music at large, is often to know kind of where did this thing come from this person and then that person and that person. There's a lot of respect given to where something comes from.
The tradition I was dealing with has a period of time where it was really basically broken. I'd say like more or less from the 1940s to really starting around the Holocaust and up until a sort of revival movement that started in the States in the really late 70s or maybe early 80s. And I started realizing felt really important to go to Eastern Europe and see what I could find. So I started when I was 18. I spent a summer traveling in Greece, learning fiddle from Greek musicians, studied in Hungary, and made my way to Romania. And I ended up living in Romania for a year. I've been there like probably 20 times, going to mostly small villages, finding old fiddlers who are predominantly Roma or Gypsy musicians who, in some cases, played for Jewish weddings before the Holocaust. Kind of really always wanted. When I was 2 years old, I asked my parents for a fiddle, and kind of had this idea that I wanted that was important. And
I've explored these things kind of because they were what I liked, but maybe I like them because they connect with something in me. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's just very dear to my heart. And also as a Jew, it's sort of, I think it's important because we are a diasporic culture. It's just, the kind of beauty and richness of Yiddish and those traditions, and really any diasporic Jewish culture, I think, have a lot to say about about the strength that comes from identifying with something other than just land. I mean, the process is intense in certain ways. It's kind of like there's, the questions of genocide loom like everywhere, almost every performance I give, just because of what, you can't really avoid what happens to the Yiddish language and the Yiddish world.
we got to do that work because we're so privileged to be holding this golden stuff, right? So it's our duty to do some hard work once in a while, because we get to have this power that comes from all those people making all of this before us, right? Like as a member inside of culture or folk culture, in my case, you can either choose to just kind of only hold and lift up and carry on the parts that do seem right to our common consciousness today, right? Our agreements of what is right. So in a way, kind of only carry on that part that serves this now. Or you can change parts that are problematic. But you got to do that in a way that comes from knowing it well and deeply, and maybe a thumbs up from the people that those problematic parts were harming.
The myth that some kind of tradition is this monolithic, pure thing that needs to be preserved is just crazy, especially with regards to this.
Yeah, I think the more I learn and experiment, right, and practice inside of those lineages, the more everything makes sense.
Sense of community, a sense of connectedness emotionally to themselves and to the people around them. Sort of being aware of the interconnectedness of cultures, and, all kinds of all kinds of sort of beautiful, lofty things. To me, performing this music is essentially a celebration rather than a mourning.